feeding very nicely.
Why try? Do we eat all the matzah?
Perfect. Good job.
I lift up my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth, who will not allow your foot to slip. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God will protect your coming and your going from this time forth and forever. We're here today, here physically and here over Zoom, with two purposes in mind. The first is to celebrate and to honor the vibrant life of Valerie Segil, a devoted mother, grandmother, partner, sister, and friend, and to offer our love and our support to those who are closest to her, her sons, Anthony and Cliff, for whom she dedicated her life, her daughter-in-law, Nina, her loving and devoted partner, Saul, of 26 years, her brother, Selwyn, and sister, Shirley, and the greatest source of her joy, her beloved grandchildren, Sarah, Alex, Teddy, Jameson, Natalie, and Flynn. And to let those that Val loved most know that they are not alone in their grief and that they have a community and a family who is here to support them. We read words from our tradition, Psalm 23. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God make me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. I want to invite Nina to come up and share some words, a poem.
Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to desecration and then sometimes to wisdom, from weakness to strength or from strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from repetition to repetition to repetition, until looking backwards or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high point along the way, but in having made the journey, step by step, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred journey to life everlasting.
This morning we're going to be hearing stories and memories from first Anthony, from Val's son, and then we'll hear from Jameson, her grandson, her partner Saul, and finally from her son Cliff. Come on up, Anthony.
Thank you all for joining our families, Cliff, Saul, and I, in celebrating my mom's life, and starting the process of grieving. Family was so important to my mommy. Those members, including those born into the relationships and friendships, were deeply meaningful. For those who might not have known, here is an overview of my mom's life. My mom was courageous, loving, dedicated, and 100% full of energy. By pure brute force, my mother pushed through her entire life, just like the Energizer Bunny that could. My mom grew up in Cape Town, South Africa, and was the eldest of 3. She had a sister, Shirley, and brother, Selwyn. Mom always worried about flunking a year and being the same grade as her younger sister. Maybe that's why she believed so much in education. Mom was taught that family was everything. She kept in contact with all her cousins and aunts, who provided her much happiness and muscle. She loved deeply, and all those family members who've expressed their love and support, we're so appreciative. It provides so much comfort. When Mom got married in 1970 at 19, yes, Grandpa Ruby had to sign her away. She started a new life in Johannesburg. My mom did Meals on Wheels and came back crying. She never realized there were poor Jews, or that older ones in old age homes whose children didn't visit them. It was a new concept for her. She always saw the world as good. Throughout her life, she would continue to give and do charity work. If not by the grace of God, there go I. In 1980, our family moved to America. My mom restarted a new life, not knowing anyone. She would meet two friends, Beryl and Joanne. They would become lifelong sisters, and for the past 40 years, they've fulfilled all around. I'm so appreciative for them and the support, friendship, and love they extended to my mother throughout her life. Mostly how they were able to listen, provide comfort to my mom. She never burdened me with her ailments, and I only knew her as the Energizer Bunny. Mom would have a tough life in the U.S. We grew up in a small place, yet my mom never complained. She was a horrific cook, and it's the reason Cliff and I used to like our steaks well done. Yes, like a Nike sole. Mom would cook the steak on a pan, the other part of the oven, the broiler, we knew as a place to store pots and pans. Even though we had nothing, we had everything. Love, support, and unconditional acceptance. A belief we could achieve anything, and if we failed, so what? Get up, move forward. She would be cheering us on. Some 26 years ago, that same friend Beryl dragged my mom to a New Year's Eve party. It would change her life for the better. Mom would meet the love of her life, her soul partner, Sol. She was never more happy and content. Sol treated my mom amazingly, and they loved one another. She was his everything, and vice versa. They used to travel everywhere, and Mom was so excited to visit new places. Most of all, he was there for her. My mom was the youngest mom of any of my friends. Many times people would mistake her for my date. But when Cliff and I were out of the apartment at college, Mom joked that should something happen to her, we wouldn't know for days. With Sol, that and every other concern was alleviated. Sol made Mom feel loved, protected, and special. An amazing feat, and in so doing, became Saba Sol. For more than a decade, the entire Segil, Tell, and Segil clan, some 30 of us, would vacation for a week at Shadow Ridge in Palm Springs. We had fun, the cousins, and Mom's positive energy was contagious. We have seen the cousins grow, and how family permeates everything. On a personal note, my mom has always been there for me. There isn't anything I could do where she would not love me. She would take a bullet for me, as I would for her. To be loved unconditionally, and know a person is proud of you, and the joy you give them is so special. When I was at university, Mom would come to visit with a vacuum cleaner hand, and would kick me out while cleaning my pad. The Energizer Bunny was always there. Even when we had nothing, Mom gave. She was generous. Even when I would go out with my mom for lunch, she still wouldn't allow me to pay. My mom was always a fighter and positive. She saw the best in people and could never stay still. Some 30 years ago, she had her first encounter, a hysterectomy with cancer. Most people would have needed several days to recover, but not the Energizer Bunny. The next day she was out cruising and even eating a 7-Eleven hot dog. Nothing could keep her down, and she didn't tell me she was having surgery. Didn't want to bother me about it. Classic Val, Mommy. You couldn't keep her down. Then she had breast cancer a decade later. Some 6 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She went through a brutal surgery, but that wouldn't keep her down. I asked her about God, and whether she thought he was a good or bad energy. Of course my mom said he was good. Why would you want a bad God? Of course he's good, and tomorrow is a great day. My mom was always happy and optimistic. like a cheerleader, a sorority present, happy, full of life, and would chat with anyone. I prayed, or as Mom taught me, had a conversation with the divine presence, and asked for 3 things 6 years ago. That my mom should live to see Jameson and Sarah have their bar and bat mitzvahs. He gave me that, and I knew that would have been enough. 2, that she should be in good health throughout this. Mom was still cruising around, and even during COVID, would head out to Apple Pan and get burgers for the other elderly people in her building. Mom always pushed through. I was never aware of her struggles and pain because she never shared, and I guess Diana would have been enough. And 3, that she passed peacefully. This type of cancer my mom has isn't a nice way to go, and God gave me an extra 6 months, Diana. A year ago, my mom was the longest living member of a trial group at UCLA. She had outlived everyone else and was still cruising around and living life. She even planned on coming with us to Israel to celebrate her grandchildren. Nothing was going to keep her down. 2 weeks ago, my mom's kidneys gave out, and she still went through 4 dialysis treatments that provided little or no relief. She made a decision to no longer be in pain. While hard for us, we understood and wished her Godspeed. She passed on Valentine's Day. My mom had been unconscious for almost 3 days, while the cancer had riddled her body and destroyed much of her. Her heart was that of a 30-year-old marathon runner. It would not give out. She passed on Valentine's Day, so apropos for a woman with a big heart. I celebrated my 49th birthday the day after, knowing my prayers had been answered. Thankful that the woman who did everything for me was not in pain. I couldn't think of a more befitting gift. My mom didn't want to burden Cliff and I with a passing, and didn't honestly want a service. She would have told us, "I'm dead, move on." But like I told her, it's not for you, but for us. She was so proud of us that it gave us such comfort to know where she would be buried. We chose a spot on the high ground, and where no one can walk over her. For once, my mom is at peace and in charge of her life. The greatest comfort she has, the plot holds too. It gave her so much joy knowing Saul's desire to be included on the tombstone as her partner. My mom was so proud of Cliff, my little brother, the doctor. Dr. Segil made my life so much easier. He took care of my mom for all her health issues that he dealt with. To be candid, I never knew what day Mom went to chemo and which days to avoid her, but Cliff did. He was always there. Because of his smarts, compassion, my mom was able to pass with dignity, pain-free, and content. Cliff made sure Mom was comfortable. He had her moved from UCLA to St. John's. Instead of her being transported by ambulance, he was able to drive her, and the great escape of 2021 occurred. He was able to bring her to his house. We ate with her, enjoyed the suns, laughed, hugged, and it was amazing. My brother was able to give her such peace. While she was confined to the hospice, Cliff was able to get all of us in. Not a small feat considering COVID. While Mom always loved Cliff and I, her 6 grandchildren, Sarah, Jameson, Alex, Natty, Flynn, and Teddy, brought her so much love and happiness. You were her everything, and spending time with each of you made her happy. Seeing you grow into such amazing people was the highlight of her life. Family meant everything to her, and you were it. She wrote a letter to all of you some time ago, and I'm happy to share it. To my darling grandchildren, I feel so blessed to have you in my life. I value you individually, charm, kindness, and character. It means everything to be a part of your lives and to be able to watch you blossom and grow. Family is the most important ingredient in life. I hope that you will all love, protect, cherish each other always. There are no ties as strong as family. We must never let anything come between us. Please make sure you respect your parents. They only want what's best for you, even if it doesn't feel that way at times. Know that they'll always look out for you. As Grandpa Mace used to say, your children are lent to you. After they've grown up, they will fly away and hopefully return one day. If this happens, consider it a miracle. In reality, kids go away to college, explore the world. We will hope you always return to your loving family. We are fortunate to live in America. All my grandchildren are born in America and don't talk funny like Granny Val, who says push car for stroller, nappies for diapers, lounge for living room, and robot for traffic light. Appreciate how fortunate you are to live in the USA. Always be there for people less fortunate than yourself. Have compassion, read to the blind, feed the homeless, donate clothes and toys to the needy. Do what you can. Be grateful for what you have, and don't take all of it for good. We live in a wonderful country. Both your papas have done very well. All your grandchildren are loved and treasured. Sometimes life gives us hard knocks and bad things happen. We are a strong, resilient family, and we will always cope with adversity. If there was never any negative, we would not be able to appreciate the positive. Try to always wake up filled with hope and happiness. Believe in yourself. Be respectful to all people. Be a good listener. Be kind. Remember, words can hurt. Sometimes we do not know the right answer, and we need to listen. We are all on a journey in this huge world we live in. Love, Granny. I thank you for your support. You're all part of our family, whether through blood or just the fact God welcomed you into our lives. We love you and so appreciate you being here for us. My mom would say she's dead. Get along with your lives. Give your kids and parents a hug from her. My mom will always be with me in spirit, and I love you and I miss you. And thanks for being my mom. Come up there.
My grandma and I had a special connection. I was the first grandchild that knew she had cancer, and it stayed like that for a while. She would always take me everywhere, no matter if she was feeling well or not. Of course, she would never let anyone know if she wasn't feeling well. In the beginning, I wasn't really sure how sick she was. One time, she took me to a school event, and I noticed every time she bumped her arm or leg, her skin would open up and bleed. She explained that the medication was thinning her skin and she would get sores, but she went on throughout the day excitedly taking me around and never complaining. Then later that evening, it was the first time I saw Granny Val without her wig. That was the day I realized Granny Val was going through a lot of pain, but would do anything for her family. I also realized how selfless she was and how much she enjoyed hanging out with me. I'm gonna miss her so much, but I'm glad that she's no longer in pain and that she knew how much her family loved her. I remember her as a selfless and family-loving person, and my 5-year-old cousin Teddy remembers her as a funny and loving person. So if my 5-year-old cousin can remember her as a positive person, I think everyone here today can too.
Val, you came to my life out of the blue on a New Year Eve party. You were sweet, energetic, and caring. I was happy to hear from some members of your family that I was wonderful to you. I feel that you were wonderful to me. I had my best life with you. We spent quality time with family and friends and traveled a lot. Some of our trips would be impossible without your endless energy. You were always a mommy taking care of and giving instructions to people around you. Yesterday I woke up and realized that my hair has grown wild In order not to upset you, I immediately got a haircut. Anthony did the same. Your loss created a vacuum that is impossible to fill. Hopefully time will mitigate the pain. Love you, Val. Thanks for wonderful 26 years with each other.
Just take a moment and look to the left, and look to the right. Look at me and then close your eyes and try to remember this forever. Thank you everyone again for joining us in person on this Zoom this morning to remember my mom. We're in Los Angeles, California at Hillside Memorial Park on February 17th, 2021, during a waning COVID-19 pandemic, which has resulted in the deaths of thousands of people in this city. My mom passed away peacefully without any COVID-19 complications, and she had received her first of 2 vaccinations optimistically. I am going to play doctor briefly. Mom passed away due to her kidneys failing due to ovarian cancer, which was diagnosed Cinco de Mayo 2015 or May 2015, a few months prior to her 64th birthday. More specifically, Mom died from advanced platinum-resistant ovarian cancer without METs due to progressive renal insufficiency with acute renal failure after failing bilateral multiple urethral stent placements, and she failed a trial of hemodialysis. My mom was gifted more than 2.5 years of symptom-free survival due to an immunotherapy trial at UCLA. My mom watched all the other ladies in this trial die due to ovarian cancer and outlived the drug trial. Her UCLA gyn-onc, or gynecological oncologist, was then able to continue getting this experimental, not available to the public, medication until it stopped working. Mom lived to see her eldest grandson and granddaughter get bar mitzvahed and bat mitzvahed. Mom also lived to see my son go off therapy for his leukemia. And for a certain period of time, I was a cancer sandwich, with both my mother and son receiving chemotherapy. After all of this, Mom passed away in her sleep, calm and peaceful, in the same hospital where all 3 of my children were born and where I have worked now for more than a decade. My mom ended up passing on Valentine's Day, the day before my big brother's birthday, on Sunday. We will forever celebrate my mom's big heart on Valentine's Day for the rest of our lives. Please join me thinking of my mom every Valentine's Day moving forward. My mom will be sorely missed, and she was immensely loved by Anthony and I, her 2 sons. Granny Val will be missed by her 6 grandchildren. Her eldest 2, Sarah and Jameson, were gifted 14 years of knowing Granny Val, and Teddy only 5 years. Val will also be missed by Saba Sol, in whom my mom found a truly loving partner who shared love, family, and travels for 26 years. My mom will also be missed by the countless other friends and family Mom jawed with, which means partied in Afrikaans, lunched with, spoke with, and hung out. My mom will miss her longtime close friends Beryl, Joanne, and Leanne. My mom, Valerie Segil, will also be missed by her family still in South Africa, who always remembered her for her joy and overflowing happiness. Mom's Doreen is 93 and is still living in Cape Town. And when Mom's dad, Grandpa Ruby, passed away, it broke Mom's heart. Mom loved her doctor dad who took care of her. Mom was a poor high school student, as Anthony pointed out, and her only motivation to study was not to fail a year and be placed in the same grade as her younger sister Shirley. Uncle Selwyn and Auntie Cecily always provided Mom with a refuge in Bakersfield, and she and Sol often snuck there to relax. We will all miss Granny Val deeply. Though Mom loved Anthony and I dearly, in Sol she found her soulmate. On New Year's Eve, Mom stepped out on the balcony to have a cigarette and met Sol having a cigarette. I know which building it is, and even what balcony it was, as every time I drove up 11th Street between Michigan and Pico, Mom would point out that's where she met Sol. Sol, I owe a big thank you to Beryl for taking Mom out to party yet again. It's strange for me to think Sol was a smoker, as he's always been a very straight edge in the entire time I've known him. Mom and Sol have been together ever since, which is now 26 years ago. Val was everything to Sol. My mom loved her travels with Sol to Israel and South Africa, and their drives across the U.S. Please note that my kids only knew Sol as Saba Sol and Granny Val, and we have delighted in having Sol share in our family moments. It is my intent to keep Sol around forever, if you'll take it, Sol. I want to share with Sol that seeing you will only remind us of our mom and grandmother, and it is my hope that seeing us will remind you of Granny too, and help with the pains which are guaranteed to come. All the way to the end, Mom never picked a favorite between Anthony and I, and we truly loved our mother. I tested Mom by doing stupid things in high school, and even when I returned her Honda Civic Wago van with a cracked rear axle from driving on a Santa Monica Center Island, in reverse, I may add, there was only a smile after I acknowledged no one was hurt. Anthony tested Mom by finding it critical to get her opinion on his bargain of the minute. His worst purchase was a football helmet, which was massive, and Mom and I forced him to throw it out. It was $14, down from at least $144. By the way, Anthony and I don't watch football. I was jealous of Anthony, as Mom was able to vacuum Anthony's USC dorm and frat rooms and do his laundry, which I lost out by leaving town for college. Mom's famous line was, "Your kids are yours until they go to college, and then if you choose to spend any time with you, it's a gift." She was wrong. The gift was hanging out with Mom. Anthony and I are appreciative of all she did to help us. Anthony and I were particularly close to our mother due to our eccentric father, who was often absent. To survive, we learned to lean on each other in small quarters and learned to make do with the limited resources we had early in life. Even when resources were scarce, we were happy. Anthony and I and Mom recount our early years after Mom separated from our dad with a type of happiness being together that many of our friends still don't get. We had more than we needed, is what I have answered out to our friends when asked, how did you guys turn out normal? Anthony and I are, quote, normal, unquote, due to Mom's love, devotion, and nudges which would never stop. I will miss her nudges, and I apologize to my kids that my nudginess comes from Granny Val. Granny Val was a simple lady whose actions spoke louder than her words. She gave her time and love to my family always with joy and happiness. She babysat, cleaned our place, schlepped the kids, cleaned our place and rearranged our closets, replenished our dying entrance orchid often, cleaned our place and rearranged everything in the kitchen, picked up purchases from IKEA, and cleaned our place with a smile. You get my point. Nina gave in finally and would just say thank you. Mom was the giving tree and would give anything for us. She was not a lady of wealth, but a lady with a lot of time, thanks to Sol taking care of her. With this time, she gifted it to whichever grandkid she could give it to, often doing shifts in Encino and Santa Monica on the same day. Mom loved sneaking her grandchildren together, and our kids will miss Mom's coordinated play dates while we were busy doing other stupid things. No time was too early, no day inconvenient, and not even recently were we allowed to go to the airport without her insisting on driving us. Before I close, many people have asked where they can make a donation in Granny Val's name. If this is something you would like to do, please donate to CHLA, HEMONC, or Children's Hospital Los Angeles, Department in Hematology and Oncology, in the name of Valerie Segil. I realized my mom's end was near after she was admitted to a hospital in December, and Mom made me promise her, as her physician's son, I would honor her wishes to help her die with grace and dignity when we got to a point in which she had no quality of life. In December, I sat with Mom and completed all of her end-of-life paperwork, making it clear what Mom would want and not want if things got bad. After Mom continued to feel awful, after receiving hemodialysis, and Mom repeatedly asked me to help me let her go, I honored Mom's request, and my mom died with grace and dignity, in no pain, calm and peaceful in her sleep on Valentine's Day, even during COVID 2021. While Mom was hospitalized, I will always remember one special late night phone call after being given strong pain medications, in which my mom gave me the best thank you and goodbye talk a son could ever want. Anthony got one too. This was longer than mine. I will forever remember the hour that my daughter Sarah and my mom shared in the hospital, crying, hugging, giggling, and talking to be one of the most meaningful hours of my life. I'm going to close with the words I speak to my children every night. To Mom, you are safe and loved. You gave me joy and happiness. I loved being your son. Thank you for being my mom.
With her quiet but determined way, as we heard, Val spent even her final days caring for others. Whether she was spending time with her grandkids or schlepping them across the city, caring for her neighbors in her apartment building. I think my favorite story was from Anthony about her bringing apple pan burgers to everyone in the entire building, or volunteering at Cedars so that other people wouldn't be alone. Val's kind and generous spirit touches us and challenges us still. And so today, after a long battle, we say goodbye to a woman whose positivity and generosity fueled the love that she shared with so many. But we need not say goodbye to the lessons that she left us. To always believe in the good, even in difficult moments like today, we can decide that it is a good day. To give to others with our whole selves, that with sheer will, you can do almost anything. And most of all, that there is nothing more important than family. Zichrona Livracha, may these lessons be her name, and may they be an enduring blessing to us all. We're going to take a few moments for silent remembrance to call upon our own favorite stories or memories of Val, and then we'll join together in our morning blessings. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men who wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love does not die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. If you are able to, I want to invite you to please rise. El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפיך שכינה, עם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים את נשמת חייצר בת ראובן ודבורה, שהלכה לעולמה. בעלך רחמים, יסתירך בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ולצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Valerie Segil, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. We close with words of Mourner's Kaddish, and these are prayers. This is a prayer that we say to mourn the loss of someone, but actually, this prayer never speaks about death. Instead, it speaks about life, and it reminds us that even though we mourn for Valerie today, that she leaves an important and beautiful legacy of family and of deep care and love with all of us who are here today. I'm going to find the words for all of you so you can follow along. They're on page 31. Yitkadav v'yitkadash shemei rabba, ve'amad yivrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman karev v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach leolam ulamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha berechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ve'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Hamakom yenachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort all those who mourn among Zion and Jerusalem. And together we say, Amen. That's going to conclude our service this morning. We are going to have Shiva. We're going to have a Shiva service tonight at 7:30 p.m. over Zoom. And again, tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. over Zoom. And that will be an opportunity for us to gather in prayer and also for others to share any stories or memories that they want to avow. Thank you for being with us today.